Emmerdale's Will Ash, who plays Caleb Miligan, has opened up about the explosive confrontations ahead as Caleb remains in the dark about Joe Tate's betrayal. Tensions are set to escalate for Emmerdale's Caleb Miligan as he remains in the dark about the grim reality of his recent kidney transplant, while his animosity with Joe Tate is on course for a fatal twist. Emmerdale actor Will Ash has hinted at a string of volatile encounters to come, with Caleb's suspicion towards Joe Tate intensifying, yet unaware of the deep-seated treachery he's been subjected to. "If Caleb knew the truth, he'd want to kill Joe," Will remarked, adding, "He's quite calculated but he would fly off the handle." Having been hastily admitted to hospital with a stab wound and a kidney missing, Caleb mistakenly trusts that he was assaulted by a stranger prior to Joe finding him and facilitating urgent private medical treatment, thereby saving his life. However, the reality is far more sinister, with Joe having desperately needed a kidney and crafting a scheme over several weeks to extract Caleb's, the sole compatible donor in the village. Despite Joe's guileful plot, Caleb is oblivious to the genuine reasons behind his actions. As of now, Caleb sets his sights on Jai Sharma, who seems to be exploiting Steph Milligan's ongoing turmoil. Caleb's offspring, portrayed by Georgia J., is engulfed in guilt after the homicide of her grandfather Anthony, and staggered by the disclosure that he was actually her biological father, reports The Mirror. With Ruby, her mother, striving to keep their unit intact, the responsibility rests upon Caleb to steer through the tumult without unveiling their perilous secrets. Caleb's trying to guide Steph through this. They can't get her any kind of therapy, Will reveals. She could end up telling the therapist everything. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. However, Jace's inquisitiveness is causing Caleb to be on edge. He's really wary of the fact that, if he starts digging, then he might find something incriminating, adds Will. The consequences could affect more than just the Milligan household, potentially ensnaring Kane, Chaz, and Aaron Dingle, as well as John Sugden, all connected to the concealment of Anthony's body. Jace digging could absolutely blow it wide open, Will asserts. Caleb makes it clear to Steph she needs to stay away from him. But despite Caleb's careful plotting, Steph's mental well-being is on the decline. She withdraws from her kin and seeks comfort at Anthony's hidden burial site, where she engages in a frenzied behavior. "I don't think Caleb realizes how bad things have gotten," Will admits, but they find her clawing away at the ground where he's buried. It's heartbreaking to witness. When Caleb and Ruby scramble to stop her, Therese and other figures skulking nearby, Joe Tate. Ruby tries to fend off Joe, but her overreaction piques his interest. And then they're hit with another unforeseen twist. Steph makes them realize that there might not be anybody buried there at all. Will hints, "You'd need a mechanical digger and John hasn't got access to one." John, a paramedic and family ally, was instrumental in concealing Anthony's death. Initially suspecting his partner Aaron of the crime, it later transpired that Ruby was the true culprit, having smothered Anthony after Aaron's violent attack. Amidst the chaos surrounding Steph, Caleb's focus remains on Joe Tate. At this point, Caleb thinks that Joe saved his life, actor Will Ash reveals, but he wants to keep an eye on him. So he invites him round for dinner to scratch away at the surface and see what's going on. However, Joe makes a pivotal error when he leaves behind his coat containing immunosuppressant medication. "If you've had a kidney transplant, you need to take immunosuppressants for your immune system to accept the new kidney," explains Will. Upon returning for his coat at Mill Cottage, Joe runs into Steph, but Caleb intervenes. Joe's attempt to retrieve his coat leads to the pills tumbling out, arousing Caleb's suspicions. Caleb doesn't know what they are at the time, but he knows he's on medication, says Will. "Something isn't right." Caleb, eager for the truth, devises a scheme involving Noah Dingle. He rips one of the lights in his depot so he can get Noah to come round to fix it last minute. Will hints at the unfolding drama. He asks Noah about Joe because he knows they spend a lot of time together. What Noah discloses is enough to unsettle Caleb, but it's his conversation with Noah's mother Charity that really gets him thinking. She says she doesn't trust Joe, reveals Will. In that moment, Caleb doesn't think that the stabbing was anything suspicious, but he is thinking Joe is not to be trusted.